All right, welcome everyone to my talk about how to detox your body naturally. I'm Sophie Alexander from the Nutritional Wellness Center, and I'm really excited to share this information. The 21-day Purification Program from Standard Process is a tool that I use frequently in my clinical practice for multiple reasons. And let me edit one thing on my screen here and I'll tell you more why. Make sure I'm the one showing up here as for the folks with the recording. So I'm just going to pin myself. Sorry, I should have taken care of this ahead of time. Yeah, okay, that's how I want it to look. Excellent. So I find with the purification that so often it's the underlying reason for why folks are struggling, right? So if they're struggling with their energy, they're struggling to lose weight or maintain weight loss, if they have poor digestion, it's really due to the toxicities that we are exposed to on a regular basis. So whether it's someone's needing to reset their diet, say right now, this is a great time of year to kind of reset and refocus with moving the new year forward, or if it's someone taking their diet to a new level, or if it's someone who just needs a real, really need to dig deep to get their health turned around because of their toxic exposure. This 21-day purification program really does an amazing job with that. But first, I always like to answer the question, well, why do we need to do this, right? So sadly, we live in a world where there's lots of exposures and they're just worsening, unfortunately. The air and the water pollutants, caffeine, cigarette smoke, cosmetics, heavy metals, household cleaning products, the amount of pesticides and herbicides in use, the amount of pharmaceuticals in use, preservatives in our food. The list just goes on and on. I've been doing this work now, for I think 14 years, I've lost track. And I have really seen, I've had to work harder to get people well. It's been harder to help bodies to detoxify. I'm so grateful for my ongoing tools and the development of more tools. But it's really been interesting to just watch, the past 10 plus years, the burden in bodies escalate due to what I'm referring to. So one of the resources that I really love to point people towards, because it's pretty overwhelming to think about all these exposures and what ones can we control and what can we do about it, is this group called the Environmental Working Group. Their website is ewg.org, and they are just a great source of information, how to navigate water quality, great articles on health. They have a product safety database. There are more and more products that are getting this EWG verified seal, which really means that it's being held to a higher standard, because we just don't have this type of regulation, especially in terms of personal care products and cleaning products and things like that. We don't have that through our government. So some of the main symptoms when folks are dealing with a high toxic load is they have difficulty sleeping, particularly sleep disruption, like waking up in the middle of the night and not falling back asleep. Tired, have digestion and other gastrointestinal problems, specifically food cravings, weight gain, loss of mental clarity, low libido. So the toxicities enter our bodies in multiple ways, right? So we breathe many of them in: toxic fumes, exhaust, secondhand smoke. We ingest so many of them through our water, through the food additives in our foods, the toxins in soft drinks. And then a ton comes through our skin too, because our skin is our largest organ and everything that we put on ourselves gets absorbed. So that can be perfumes and lotions and hairsprays, deodorants, makeups. And our bodies have to work hard to remove them and process them. So the main tracks for elimination are the liver, the kidneys, the small intestine, and the large intestine. You have to be pooping well to be eliminating toxins well. And that's where, with so many clients, I have to start, right? They're just not clearing things properly from the body. But in general, we have many systems of detoxification. Those are the main ways I just spoke about, that things get out of the body. But our body is constantly working to process everything that we're exposed to. And so our lymph is working, our blood is working, our skin, our lungs, as well as the big players of the kidneys and the liver and the colon. But if you're a client of mine, you hear me talk about the liver all the time. It's one of my favorite organs. And it's because it is such a big player in terms of detoxification. It works so hard, and having it be healthy makes such a huge difference in people's overall health. So just very simply, we have 2 phases of detoxification done by the liver, where it's converting toxins into more forms that can be more easily removed from the body. And so some people talked about it as 3 phases of elimination: phase 1, phase 2, and then the actual moving it out of the body, which could be referred to as phase 3, which again is really how well is your colon working, how well regularly are you going to the bathroom, right? You should be going to the bathroom at the very minimum once a day, but 2 to 3 times is the healthiest. And so the liver, it works in the body like an oil filter works in a car, in the sense that it's so important to be clean and doing its job properly. A lot of people don't know that liver converts thyroid hormones. So much of hypothyroidism can be due to whether the liver is converting T3 to usable T4 properly. It processes the body's stored sugar. So ideally, you're working through all the sugar stores in the liver once you're not actively eating. And yeah, it helps us to convert sugar to usable energy. It plays a huge role with bile, which is what helps us to digest fat. But bile is also the way that we clear toxins from the body. So if bile is sticky or not flowing properly, or stagnant, and meaning that things just stay in the liver and the bowel too often, or for too long, then these toxins get reabsorbed, and it can be a real issue of why people feel so terrible. The bile also removes excess hormones. And so, as you can see, happy liver equals happy person. And the 21-day purification really does focus on the liver a lot. So yes, our diet contributes to our toxic load. I mean, I know I'm not speaking to people who eat the most standard American diet, right, with this video I'm recording in my audience right now. But this could be your friends, your family members, right? People that you're wanting them to understand why it is so important to remove the preservatives, the high fructose corn syrup, the trans fats, and the sugar from diet. So this is basically what I was just saying, that this is what so many people eat and what so many children eat in standard American school lunches. The United States allows over 3,000 chemicals to be added to our food. The average American consumes more than 75 pounds of sugar every year. And sugar contributes to an average of 16% of the total calorie in American diet. And that's climbing. That's actually an old statistic. It's just climbing. Yeah, so you see this graph goes back to 2005, right? So it's some dated data, and it's just been escalating in terms of our sugar consumption. And the things that you're surprised that it's even hidden in. You're trying to make better choices, and it's in a cracker you're trying to eat, or it's in a frozen food dish or a sauce, like the amount of sugar that's in pizza sauce, and you don't even realize it. You think you're just having tomatoes. Because sugar causes, as this says, costs you more than your teeth. It is a huge player in immune suppression, right? And so that's why I always think it's really interesting that we start to get our sickest right around Halloween, and it lasts all the way through Easter. And it's just because of sugar holiday after sugar holiday. And cell-mediated immunity is depressed by 50%, for 120 minutes after sugar ingestion. So for some people, this is all day long, have a bit of sugar with their breakfast, a bit of sugar with their lunch, a bit of sugar with dinner, and that immune suppression just is constant. Bear with me here, sorry. So a lot of folks have their doctors commenting about their cholesterol, right? Their total cholesterol. And a big one that I pay attention to is your triglycerides. And the triglycerides are very much controlled by these processes that we are talking about. And so triglycerides are a direct reflection of how much sugar you're having and how well the liver's processing that into fat, which we don't want to be happening, right? So our liver converts and stores carbohydrates. And when too many carbohydrates are consumed and your liver becomes unable to eliminate, store, and process those carbohydrates, the carbohydrates are converted into triglycerides, which is fat in the blood. And to me, that's the biggest indicator of poor cardiovascular health, right? At elevated levels, we can get hardening of the arteries, poor circulation, and heart disease. So I won't go into too much of a focus about total cholesterol and how I feel like some of the misinformation around that. But I don't care so much about what your total cholesterol is. But if you come and show me blood work that has elevated triglycerides, I am concerned, right? And it really shows how we need to decrease the amount of sources of sugar in your diet. And that really gives us a better picture of the quality of your cholesterol and how damaging that cholesterol can be. So the quality of fats that you consume plays a big role then in how well your liver does and how well it does its job and the amount of inflammation that's occurring there. So you'll see as we go into the details of the 21-day purification, there's a big emphasis on good oils, good fats. And so the bad fats are canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, soy oil, anything that says hydrogenated oils, olestra, and the partially hydrogenated fats, which are trans fats. I think this is wild, but a half-life of a trans fat is 51 days, which means it takes 102 days to clear them out of your body. So I know I speak a lot about sugar and the detriments of sugar, but I would argue that number 2 after that is the bad fats in terms of the amount of inflammation it causes and just due to how many of them are in processed foods and readily available foods now. Even our local co-op here does a lot of its like cooking for ready to go foods with canola oil. So it's one of these areas that needs a lot of education and causes a lot of damage and is part of why I see so many unhappy livers in my work. So it's helpful sometimes for people to be like, well, do I actually need to do a purification? How do I know, right? Besides assessing symptoms and how you're feeling. So we do have a questionnaire that we'd happy to send to you if you're curious. It's a toxicity questionnaire that really has you think through all your different exposures and what your toxic burden might be. It looks like this. And so it talks about symptoms, and then it just talks about kind of cleaners you use and where you live and what you get exposed to. And it can be really interesting to reflect upon. So these are some pictures of me when I had the privilege of going out to the Standard Process Farm. It's in Palmyra, Wisconsin, and I was invited out there in 2019. And it was a really special experience for me, having worked with this company for so many years and seen the benefits of the supplements that they grow on their 420 acres of organic soil. They put so much care into providing these high quality raw materials that they then make right into their supplements. And the supplement factory is, just down the road from the farm. It's very, very cool. And a lot of the ingredients, the majority of the ingredients I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes that are in all the purification products are just grown and then processed literally, they start the juicing of like the buckwheat and the Brussels sprouts and things, just right there on the farm. So it's incredibly fresh. And it was very cool to be able to see that whole facility, and gave me a lot more, very impressed, and very blessed to be able to use these tools to nourish our bodies, because this type of care and quality is just not going into the soil of the things that we buy in the supermarket on a regular basis. So I find that in 21 days, which is 3 weeks, I definitely see a decrease in clients' overall toxic load. Often folks lose weight. They have set patterns and habits that are then easier to keep with because they've done them for 3 weeks, and it's this easy, becomes more routine and rote and easier to maintain. Across the board, people report feeling lighter, more energetic, sleeping better, and digesting better. So there are a set of products that you do for these 21 days. You do a protein powder, and there are multiple different options. So I will talk more about them in detail and how to choose. There's a product called SP Cleanse, which is all about phase 1 of liver detox. And you do that for the first week. And there's some additional fiber support to make sure that you're eliminating well. And then there's a product called SP Green Food, which is mostly Brussels sprouts and buckwheat. And you do that to support phase 2 of liver detoxification. And that's done for the 2nd week and the 3rd week. So we'll talk first about SP Cleanse. SP Cleanse is 20 unique whole food and botanical ingredients. It supports the liver, as I keep talking about, but it also supports kidney and gallbladder, supports healthy digestive function, supports the normal elimination of toxins. It has juniper berry and red clove flower, apple pectin, burdock root, barley grass, Spanish black radish root, Oregon grape root, and fenugreek seed. You can see there's all, cleaning the blood, cleaning the kidneys, source of such nutrients, supporting enzyme activity in the liver, supporting cholesterol metabolism. So then one of the protein powders that's quite popular is the SP Complete Dairy Free. So it is a complete protein, but it also has antioxidants and some other vegetables, support healthy liver function and support detoxification. It's flavorless, so folks like it because it can just disappear into a shake, and you can add some more berries or something to give it, to make it taste good. It gets confusing, right? Because there are multiple SP completes. So the main SP complete, which does come flavored in vanilla or chocolate, is a whey protein base, right? So that's derived from dairy protein. And then they all contain the barley grass, the buckwheat and flax, and the alfalfa. But if you get the SP Complete Dairy Free, then that's a rice protein base, and it's unflavored. And it really just comes down to whether you tolerate whey protein or not. Some more of the great ingredients in SP Complete, the additional calcium and magnesium, the grapeseed and red wine extracts, the buckwheat I already mentioned, the choline and the inositol, which are some B vitamins. There's also a protein powder called Veg-E Complete Pro. And I'd say a lot of clients choose this one now because it's flavored. It comes in vanilla or chocolate, but it's also dairy free. It is all the complete amino acids, and it's a blend of organic pea protein, organic pumpkin seed protein, and organic sesame seed protein. And so it doesn't have any of the additional that we were just talking about in SP Complete. It doesn't have additional alfalfa or additional red wine extract, or the choline and the inositol, but it's a great source of added protein. And so the SP green food, which I talked about, that you take on the second week and then the third week, is 5 organically grown whole foods grown on the standard process farm. And its main focus is liver function, providing antioxidants and supporting cellular health, providing the phytonutrients that are needed for healthy cholesterol metabolism, natural elimination of toxins, and phase 2 of elimination, where really everything that the liver has converted is starting to be packed up to be moved out of the body. So it is primarily, as I was saying, Brussels sprouts and kale. It's buckwheat, standard process. Buckwheat is one of their superfoods. They grow it on the farm, and the buckwheat juice has some incredible nutrients. So it's very good at cleaning the liver, and you'll see it listed in a lot of these products again and again. Oh, and thank you. So Fabiola just shared to the chat the Facebook group for the 21 purification community. So you can join that, and you can join the other folks around the country who are doing the purification starting this week. There's a lot of shared recipes and just shared support and troubleshooting. And then there's also a cookbook that she put the link to as well there on the chat. So some more of the ingredients for green food: there's barley grass for more antioxidant support and minerals, and the alfalfa for cleansing of the bladder and the kidney, and indigestion support, and again, healthy elimination of toxins. And then I always like to have clients take a fiber, and if you get the purification program as a kit versus buying the individual supplements, then the kit will come with either gastrofiber or whole food fiber. I'm a big fan of the whole food fiber. It can just go right into the shake and disappear, and some nice soluble fiber sources to help with great formation of stool. And but some folks do better with the gastrofiber, which has the psyllium in it. And some folks need additional support while they're going through the purification. So these are some things that sometimes get added in, like additional whey protein for more protein, omega oils for some essential fatty acid support. Jemima is great for blood sugar support. So many clients do the purification program through me and through the office. So of course, if these things come up, I can customize it for people. But the purification program is something that you can, buy directly as a kit from a practitioner. And so then these would be add-ons if you're, struggling with a lot of gas or digestive discomfort. Do you need an additional probiotic, things like that. But I just encourage all of you, because you're connected with the Nutritional Wellness Center, just reach out to us. We will help you. We will customize it for you, because we want it to be a successful experience for you. So to prepare for the journey, right, it is helpful before jumping on into it to back off on some items so that it's not such a shock. Particularly, it's helpful to back off on alcohol, coffee, tobacco, or other stimulants, right? And that will help so you don't have significant headaches for the first few days. But it is for the 21 days, you do refrain from having nuts, any dairy, besides the whey protein. You have no eggs, you have no grains. Really work to avoid any processed or refined foods. So that's why having stocking up in your purification pantry, which is lots of fruits and vegetables, and utilizing that link with the recipes that Fabiola shared with us is so helpful, and helpful to prep for that in advance so that you have what you need on hand. Because this is not at all a starvation diet. The idea is you're able to eat as much as you need to but you're just eating all these certain kinds of very clean, unprocessed foods. And Fab's is just sharing some more chat, so that's information with us on the chat. So thank you, Fabiola. So when you actually get started, what it looks like is for the first week, you are not having any meat. So your main source of protein comes from your protein shakes. So a lot of folks have 2 to 3 protein shakes per day. They can be standalone, where you're just mixing the powder into water. And just having that, or you can add on to it, right? You could add some added fat like flax oil or coconut oil. You could have a bit of coconut milk in there. You can add added fruits and added vegetables. But a feedback I get from a lot of people is that they feel quite full, especially with the whole food fiber in the shake, the amount of water that they're consuming. And so I have many clients who are like, I cannot get in 3 shakes per day. And if you can't, that's totally fine, right? So you're doing the 2 to 3 shakes per day. You're either doing the gastrofiber or a tablespoon of the whole food fiber per shake. And then you do the product called SP Cleanse. And you can either do the 7 SP Cleanse capsules 3 times a day. That's like the standard dose. Or if you have an appointment with me ahead of time, I can muscle test it and customize your dose to you. You have unlimited raw, organic if possible, fruits and vegetables, particularly green leafy vegetables. You just try to do double the amount of vegetables than you do to fruit. I find that one of the places folks can get into trouble and not lose the amount of weight that they'd like to lose is because they're having too much fruit sugar. Drink lots and lots of spring water, and please sure to use plenty of mineral salts. We really love the brand Real Salt. And because there can be such a shift in metabolism, in electrolyte balance, the body mobilizing so much, the salt can help to curb cravings and help with any dizziness or low blood sugar or some of the shifts that can happen. And then you can use high quality oils, coconut oil, avocado oil, butter, ghee. I mentioned flax oil earlier too, are the favorites. And then when you move on to the second week, you continue the same diet, continue the same amount of shakes, you continue the same thing with your gastrofiber and your whole food fiber, but it's on day 8 that you switch to the green food. And you do 5 capsules of SP green food twice a day, or a customized dose. Then on day 11, you start adding back in protein. And this is a day that a lot of people look forward to. I will say right now that it does not make or break the purification if you end up adding in protein sooner, right? Some bodies just need more protein and don't do well on this really accelerated vegetarian cleanse of the first week. So if you have to add the protein in sooner, not a problem. But most people wait to day 11. And then this is where you add in fish or red meats, ideally grass-fed, poultry, organic, free range, any wild game, things like that. What you want to be avoiding is processed meats and farm-raised fish. And feedlot raised beef, which ends up having a lot of antibiotics. And they're all corn-fed, so. Okay, Tammy had a question about the difference of pink real salt and the gray salt, which are both unrefined. Yeah, it comes down to the sources of the minerals, right? So a lot of gray salts, I believe, are sea salts. And unfortunately, sea salts the ocean is quite polluted. There's a lot of microplastics and things like that. So I encourage people to use either the pink Himalayan salt coming from the Himalayas, or real salt comes from an ancient salt bed in Utah. And I like that because I like the mineral blend that comes from that bed. I like how it tests. And I also like that it's from the US. All right. So I wanted to share our amazing green smoothie recipe so you can have some ideas of how you might put together a more filling shake in a way to get in more of your veggies. So one is you just use water as a base, right? You can do coconut milk and things like that too, but you just don't want to use juice. You put your protein powder, and then you'd mix what other type of greens you would like to be in there. And then since most people don't like the flavor of blended water and greens, right, with the protein powder, you can add in some berry or a little bit of apple, or I am a big fan of mint or cinnamon. And then you add in your good fats. That could be a bit of avocado or a bit of coconut oil, a bit of flax oil. And then if you want some variety or you like it thicker, particularly, you can add in chia seeds or flax seeds. You can add in coconut flakes. So you can get adventurous with it. So it will look green, but it doesn't taste green. So I find that some folks who have severe toxicity or their bodies struggle to detoxify, do experience some symptoms when they first get started. This is not everyone's experience. I would say it's just a small fraction of folks, and I've had a lot of people do the purification over the years. But some people in the first few days experience headaches, weakness, dizziness, some muscular aches, some rashing, some disrupted sleep, constipation, sometimes diarrhea. Again, not common, and one of the main things to do about it is to keep drinking lots of water, keep getting in all the supplements, and give it time, because it usually passes quickly. Sometimes adding in protein, it really helps at this stage too. But I wanted to share with you, this ties us back to our cholesterol comments and support with the liver. But it just shows you what can be possible in 21 days too, and how much this is a whole body reboot. These are some cholesterol numbers that a colleague of mine collected after his client did the purification. So, total cholesterol came down under 200. So you can see those triglycerides at 141, that's a dangerous number, and bringing it down to 92, that's fantastic. The HDL, which is the good cholesterol, that stayed steady. But then the LDLs, which they call the bad cholesterol, also came down by many points. So this person, post-purification cholesterol numbers is somebody who's going to have much less risk of heart disease in the future. So the weight loss that can happen during detox, right? I have so many folks that this is the reason that they do it. And so part of what I'm sharing today is just all the other benefits that you get from it. But, as the body reduces toxic load, and the liver and the kidneys and the bowel all get so much healthier, is a wonderful side effect is the weight loss and the normalization of metabolism, and really addressing why losing weight has been such a barrier and such a stubborn issue, because the body uses the fat cells to store toxicities and protect the body from toxic exposures. So once the body has support and these processes are working better, the weight loss can just happen instead of fighting it. So typical weight loss during the 21-day program is anywhere from 8 to 15 pounds. And most of this is body fat. And especially if folks are exercising throughout this, they can even gain muscle. And often in the first week, it's a more accelerated loss, and that can be from the fact that it's just that initial cleansing stage, but there can also be a fair bit of water weight lost too. And so then it's always about how to, keep it going afterwards, right? You don't want it to get stalled out. You want to keep that momentum going. And that's why it's so wonderful to have it go for a full 21 days, because all the new patterns and recipes and go-tos that you have, and the confidence that you have of how to just ongoing take care of yourself this way. But because the real biggie for the key for keeping it going is the minimizing the simple carb intake. And so that's minimizing your sugars and cereals, honeys, breads, crackers, cookies, chips of any kind, white potatoes, sweet rice, pasta, corn, just starchy foods in general. You have to remember that like how well our body detoxifies determines our susceptibility to disease. So if we take in toxins quicker than our body can get rid of them, we start to be in trouble. And toxic overload is a silent killer because it does not affect just one system. And I find, regardless of what folks come in to me as their main health concerns when they become clients, whether it's joint pain or headaches or poor sleep or acne or constipation, these toxins are the underlying cause that are shutting down different body systems. And it's really when we begin to remove those that people start to regain health. So as Fab shared on the chat, join the Facebook group. It's so empowering to see other folks all doing it at the same time, having that community. Plus they have resources just right there in that group. You can download the Purification cookbook that she shared the link in the chat as well. Review that, use that to stock your pantry, and be prepared for how you're going to be eating so that you can have lots of great things to reach for and you don't just feel grumpy and tired and reach for the wrong thing. And after, you've made it through 21 days, then you've done an elimination style diet, right? You've removed many things from your diet that are common reactants and intolerances, and you have the opportunity to reintroduce them and gauge how your body responds and see if it's, keeping one of those items out will help accelerate things faster and longer for you. So I recommend, when you're done with the purification, don't just go out and have a big meal out at a restaurant where you're having so many of these things that you've been avoiding for the past 3 weeks, right? I recommend introducing things slowly, one at a time, or at least just one at a time, so that you can gauge how you feel. And if you feel bloated or gassy, or you have a headache, note it down, and you can talk to me about it, or take note for yourself that that's probably a feedback from your body that you should continue to avoid that food for longer. But I think it can be so helpful to be food journaling, or to be taking notes, so that you can really use this as an opportunity to get to know your body better, now that so much interference has been removed. And so you can really hear your body tell you what works for it and what doesn't. But the main goal really is to replenish yourself, refresh yourself, rejuvenate, give your body that opportunity to accelerate moving forward. I find that the cleanse is a great thing to do at least once a year. Okay? I have several clients who do it with the change of seasons, or once to twice a year, just to stay on top of everything we get exposed to. Some folks feel so good they want to do it again right away, and that's fine too, because sometimes you have enough of a toxic burden that the first time through, it just deals with all the stuff that you've just been really overwhelmed by, and then doing it another time, you start to get ahead of the game. So it does no harm to do that as well. It's just really giving you opportunity to feel as good as you can and where you want to go with it. All right. So hopefully that, as I went through, that answered all your questions and you kind of know what to do and how to go about it. But I'm going to hang out here for a little bit longer if you have any questions, and I'm going to stop the recording now.